everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today I'm going to be reviewing Cars, probably one of the most famous Pixar movies. Okay, I might say that because I have a bias towards it. Right now I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, rating, runtime. All of that will be up on screen right now. And this is going to be the first of many movie reviews on my channel. So if you want to hear more about me reviewing movies, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And go ahead and comment down below what you thought about 2006's Cars. But let's just get right into it with the pros. And I was not kidding in the intro when I said I have like a bias towards Cars for being probably the most famous Pixar movie, because I really like this movie. Like, I love this movie so much. Getting right into it, like, the animation is just good, considering that this came out in like 2006, basically 11 years after the first fully CG animated movie was released, Toy Story. And the animation for Pixar has greatly improved since 1995. I also do like the world building that this movie does, because this is a world where people are cars. Like, essentially, this can be classified as a person, but it's not, because it's a car. And they do a lot of interesting things, like trucks are basically like delivery people. Basically, the only sport in this world is racing. Like, there's a lot of interesting lore things that this movie does that completely has me interested in this Cars world. Stepping up a little bit from that to the story of the movie, I also really like the story that this movie has, because this is essentially a story of Lightning McQueen, who's a famous race car driver and is basically selfish, and from accidentally being sent to this small town that no one knows, learns to basically be a better person and care for others, to the point where after the king gets wrecked, the queen helps him finish his very last race. And I thought the build up for that moment really paid off for the lesson that Lightning McQueen learned throughout the course of the movie. Speaking on Lightning McQueen, I also gotta go ahead and talk about the various characters in this movie, because there are a lot of good characters in this movie, like Chick Hicks, voiced by Michael Keaton, but there were really like 4 Cars characters that really were like the best ones of the movie. Obviously, Lightning McQueen, voiced by Owen Wilson, is a legend, probably my favorite Pixar character, and definitely top 3 favorite Disney character. There's also Mater, played by Larry the Cable Guy, who is great at the comedic timing of the movie and has a lot of the best moments in the movie, especially when Mater teaches Lightning McQueen how to drive backwards. There's also Sally, played by Bonnie Hunt, who is basically the love interest for Lightning McQueen, and I felt like that they played that out very well. But the best character to come out of this movie, other than Lightning McQueen, is Doc Hudson, played by Paul Newman. Like, Paul did a amazing job playing like this old retired race car driver and not wanting to go back because the Pitson Cup turned on him after his big wreck. And I thought he was like a really good mentor to Lightning McQueen, teaching him that when's the last time you cared for someone other than yourself. Like, that was just a lot of great stuff that happened in this movie. Also, I gotta go ahead and talk about the soundtrack for this movie, because it goes so hard. Like, honestly, the score for this movie has gotta be like the best score ever in a film. No other movie has ever came close to Cars' score other than Avengers Infinity War and the 2019 Child's Play remake scores, because those ones were very good. And don't even get me started with the songs in the movie, because all of them are so good. Like, the best one is obviously Life is a Highway. That one just goes so hard. I liked how, like, the end credits scene was basically like them recreating Toy Story, Monsters Inc., and Bugs Life, but with cars, and they're fictional movies inside the Cars universe, and everyone in those movies are carsified, and each and every one of them has John Ratzenberger voicing their respective characters that they played in those movies, and then also the post-credit scene of the movie of those two cars that were trying to find the interstate earlier on, them being stuck in the desert. How long were they stuck finding the interstate? I also gotta give credit to this movie because it kinda got me into, like, racing. I mean, it's the reason why I bought this NASCAR video game. It's because I liked the Cars movie and just the idea of it. It basically made race car driving, like, definitely in my top 3 favorite sports, alongside golf and baseball. Also, that final race I thought was very suspenseful. Like, even though I've seen this movie like over 100 times and I know how it ends, still have that suspense like I'm watching it for the first time all over again. There are also like a lot of iconic moments to come out of this movie. Like, in my opinion, the tractor tipping scene is just like a fun scene to have Mater and Lightning McQueen bond together. Then of course there's my favorite moment in the movie where the town of Radiator Springs lights came on, like the neon lights of the signs came on. That scene was just like so good, and the music choice that they used also really worked. And off a side note, I also really liked the origin of the town Radiator Springs, where it was essentially like a typical small town that had some people visit and business was booming for them. Then the interstate was created and they thought they would have more people coming to Radiator Springs, but turns out they were wrong and Radiator Springs was bypassed just to save 10 minutes of driving. And basically a lot of these stores in Radiator Springs shut down, and the characters that we see like Luigi, Mater, Flo, those guys' businesses stayed open in hope of visitors. Like, that was just a really good origin for like why there's basically no one at this town. And the last big thing I can give for a positive with this movie is that it's just entertaining to watch from start to end. Like, I can watch this movie like 100 times like I've done and never get bored of it. In fact, this is definitely like one of those movies that I was obsessed with to the point where I have like different merchandise from the movie, whether that be stuffed animals, getting some of the die-cast toys, or even buying the movie in 4K. So yeah, I was a huge fan of this movie, and I still am, because genuinely, this is the best Pixar movie ever made. Like, no other Pixar movie will ever top Cars. This is an absolute perfect movie. So, with that regard, here is my scorecard for the movie. And for the stars, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. The out of 10 score, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Percentage, 100%. And a grade A+, with my final verdict being an animated masterpiece. Like, you gotta check this movie out. Like, I am very serious when I said that. This is a movie that I don't think you will regret watching. But that is just my review for Cars. I honestly really want to know what your guys' opinions on the movie are. So leave them down in the comments down below. And also be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And be sure to keep an eye out for any other videos that I make. And I will see you then, and have a great day.